Okay, so we'll just start a bit early because we do have people online as well, and we're streaming on Facebook as well at the same time. It's really, thank you again, Monica, for taking up the opportunity to talk to us about the guidelines you've put together at the B&WSSC and the kind of work you've been doing, I think, over the last few weeks to really put together, an industry benchmark that supports the salon, wellness, parlor, barber community in what's a very difficult time right now. And there is a lot of seeking, everyone's trying to seek guidelines and help about what can we do as a community to run our businesses, once the lockdown starts phasing in, so once that's over. So do you mind just talking me through the kind of the process that you've done at the B&WSSC to put these guidelines together for the industry? Because I'm sure that a lot of work with experts has gone into that.
Thank you so much, Vikas and Professional Beauty, for inviting me on behalf of B&WSSC to share with the complete industry and people beyond our industry also as to what would be expected post-COVID-19 when we get back to a new normal. This normal will be very different from the normal that we've left behind us in the month of March. Here, what we'll get into will be a different kind of a client requirement. And for us to be able to suffice that requirement, we need to be geared up in terms of infrastructure, in terms of our services, in terms of our service providers, that they should understand the importance of health and hygiene for their own safety and for the safety of their clients. So keeping that pretext in mind, we've undergone the entire process of starting from scratch, working out on the policy document, on the guideline document, on the basis of the guidelines being given by our Ministry of Health, working very closely with different bodies in the government sphere, working closely with professionals from AIMS and critical care, taking their guidance and even benchmarking our guidelines as per international standards. So I must say here, the three cheers to the entire team of B&WSSC led by standards team, by Shohini, who's put in a lot of day and night effort in getting this document up and about, and a couple of rounds here and there between AIMS and the ministry, and we are good to go with this now.
Super, and I think what we'll do, well, let's just show the presentation, the video you've put together that summarizes the guidelines across industry. I'm just going to quickly share screen.
Absolutely. That will be really nice for the people who've maybe not had a chance to glimpse through our guidelines to just have a look, and then we'll continue post that.
Great. So I'm just going to put that on now.
So as you see, the guidelines have been divided amongst four major criteria. One is infrastructure guideline, one is guideline for the clients who are going to be coming to us, one is guideline for the therapist who will be the service provider, and for the administrative staff that includes your housekeeping, your valet parkers, everyone. So these are the four pillars on the basis of which these guidelines have been developed. So if you will see, if you'll deep dive into it, this for the client, this has pre-service guidelines, during the service guidelines, post-service guidelines. It's giving them what they should expect when they book an appointment, what kind of services they should expect when they land up at their service provider's outlet at the salon, that there'll be a thermal screening which will be done. There'll be a questionnaire which they'll be required to fill in. And they should be open to share about their any travel that they've had in the recent past, to make sure that everything has been taken into account. And plus, we are requesting the clients to work on an appointment basis so that we are able to maintain the social distancing norms. It's very, very important. It's important for their health as well as the health of the other client and the service providers. So only reach the outlet or the clinic or the beauty salon or the spa, wherever they have taken an appointment, at the time of their appointment only. In case if they are there before the time, they should wait in their own vehicle, not step out, come to the fort, let the person open the door for them. They should not be touching too many things on the way. and do not crowd at the reception area. So these are the basic pre-guidelines, and thermal screening is gonna be a must, and all clients should come forward and cooperate in that. During the services, they need to be a little careful that, and they should demand also that the service provider should be wearing a mask, should sanitize all the appliances, equipments are being used. They should be using the disposable stuff wherever possible, like a gown, a disposable sheet, a disposable headband, whatever is needed. A client also throughout the service should keep wearing a mask, very important. And they can look at changing the mask either at the time of the service, and while they are leaving, they should sanitize their belongings as well. In fact, they should be advised, and our advice to them is that they should not carry too many belongings with them. It's a mobile, which is a must in today's time, should be the only thing that they should carry with them, and prefer going digital in terms of payment as well. At the reception, they should not ask for a rate list. It should be either a e-rate list, which should be available on the website of all these service providers, or it should be on the notice board, so that they do not end up touching anything. Magazines, newspapers, absolutely a no-no. In the salons or in the nail parlors or the makeup studios, they should only restrict to being at the position that they've been allowed to sit, and that chair should be sanitized before the sit-in, should be sanitized after they get up also from the chair. During the services also, they should insist that the person handling the client should sanitize their hand and should cover their head also while following the other processes. So that's for the client during the service. Post the service, again, as I mentioned, they should go electronic way in payment. They should sanitize any belonging in case if they're carrying, and should leave the outlet with taking a next appointment, or they can take that also on a call. One more very, very important thing for the clients to keep in mind is they should not make anyone accompany them, especially not the children who are below 5 to 12 years of age, to accompany them during their services. They should come single, and it'll help the salon provider also and the service provider to maintain a social distancing norm. The government has asked for 1 meter, but we are advising our industry to maintain a 2-meter social distancing norm, because the client is going to be there for a longer while taking the service. So maintain them. On the similar lines, for the service provider, whether it's a skin therapist, it's a hairdresser, it's a hairstylist, it's a makeup, nail artist, whosoever is the service provider, manicurist, pedicurist, they should maintain all the norms that have been told to them in the guidelines. Starting from the moment they enter their workplace, they should change their outfits, they should sanitize themselves, they should sanitize their belongings, they should housekeeping person clean the room in front of them, first with a normal soap and water and then with a disinfectant. They should be using all disposable material in terms of disposable sheets, in terms of disposable spatulas, in terms of bands, in terms of gown, whatever disposable can be used, and that should be disposed of also in a very, very professional manner. It shouldn't keep lying in a heap outside the room or outside the corridors. It needs to be disposed of very carefully. The housekeeping people need to pay a big attention on the hygiene of the area, especially cleaning of the washrooms, cleaning of the pantry from where water and other things should be served. Another very important instruction to the client and a request to them is that they should only drink water out of the PET bottles, should dispose it. They should have tea or coffee in a disposable glass, have it, dispose it off. Do not go in for the normal cutleries or the normal crockery at the salon. And the salon owners and the salon operators should also avoid using that. So these are the basic guidelines which we need to now make it a part of our service providing facility going forward in the times to come, because Corona is here to stay, guys.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think most people by now have been through your presentation. You know, it's very comprehensive. It's 27 pages of guidelines, and even what you were just talking about, you know, there's a lot that the industry will have to take up now. So how have you managed to get to this set of guidelines? You know, and it's comprehensive because it deals with, you know, nail techs and spa therapists and hairstylists, as well as the salon as a standalone unit. So who have you kind of worked with and consulted with to put these guidelines together for the industry?
As mentioned earlier also, I would here like to give the credit to my entire team of B&WSSC, my professionals who are the master trainers with us, my standards team, and my complete team has come forward and shared their inputs. In addition to that, wherever it was a very specific need-based or a niche industry like nails, we've gone to Gurpreet ji, taken her guidance on it. We've gone, and while we were doing yoga and we were doing neurotherapy, we've gone to Dr. Tarak Nath, we've gone to Acharya Ram Gopal Dikshit ji. We've taken the guidance from whosoever had some important role to play in it. And over and above that, we've taken the guidance from the AIMS professional, Dr. Sayan Nath, who's the head for the critical care, specifically looking after COVID-19 cases. So they've been very instrumental in guiding us, in helping us make our presentation very crisp, to the point, and easily understandable. And while we are on that, I must mention here that we are taking, again, industry support, and from the internal team, we are coming up with Hindi guidelines, a Hindi version of these guidelines to reach to a bigger mass and to a bigger set of population today itself. And our Marathi and Bengali should be out in next 2 days.
Wow.
So we are now doing regional.
I was going to come to that later in terms of, obviously it's a comprehensive guideline, very much in English, which your kind of chain salons and sophisticated salons will understand the technicalities. I was then going to ask, how are you going to get this to, the 99% of the rest of the industry, the lakhs who, aren't as proficient in English and, in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns. But as you said, you're going to be now converting this into multilingual guidelines as well for the rest of India.
Absolutely. And a lot of industry members here are coming forward and helping and supporting us to even translate it into Tamil, into Telugu. We are coming out with that. So there will be at least 10 languages. This document will be available within this week.
Wow, that's very fast. And then you also mentioned when we were chatting a couple of days ago that you're also going to be doing kind of animation and making it easier for people to understand beyond just reading. So if you also just talk through those plans that you have.
Sorry, your voice was cracking. I couldn't hear you, Vikas.
Sorry, I was just saying that
can you please come again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Your voice is echoing.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
You can try again,
So I was just talking about...
Much better, much better.
You'd mentioned that you're going to be also using other tools like animation, for example, to communicate the guidelines to the wider network. So if you just mentioned those kind of plans that you're also working on as a team.
Having said that, as we were chatting up the other day, the next phase of this guide for the purpose of high retention and for them to understand, because many people in the industry, as you rightly mentioned, those small neighborhood beauty parlors and the barber shops may not understand the meaning of each and everything, even if it is translated in their native language. So we will have to show it to them in an animated format. And then animation and anything which is visual represented will have a better staying power with the service providers in the whole affair of things. And another important thing is that these guys can always refer back while even they are working on the client. If they're not very clear with something in an animated format or video format, they'll always be able to refer back to the guidelines at the spur of the moment, or in case if a client has a particular question, they'll be able to answer that much better.
Great, okay. And then you were mentioning your kind of social distancing guidelines, that you're recommending 2 meters within the salon. Have you done any kind of recommendations in terms of occupancy rate? So it should be like 33% occupied or 50% occupied, staff occupied?
Because as per the government guidelines, which have come out as of right now, it's 33% occupancy, which is allowed at any given point of time. Having said that, we've requested for longer hours of operation from a salon industry as well as from the government. Currently, the guideline is from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. nothing will function as of right now in the orange and the green zones as well. So we are requesting for longer hour of operation so that with 33% occupancy, we'll be able to service those clients. And as I mentioned, we are requesting the clients to come with prior appointments. So that will help the salon maintain that social distancing norm, which is a must in today's time.
Yeah, and how, obviously, you're very much connected to the beauty salon wellness community, but when you're making recommendations for clients, that's not going to be as easy. So what's the process for educating clients about these kind of guidelines, about, make a pre-appointment, don't bring your children? How are you going to communicate as a kind of a body to them?
Vikas, here again, I'm requesting my entire industry, and as PBs also published our guidelines on their website. Similar guidelines are available on B&WSSC's website, but I would request and urge the industry members watching this and everyone in this industry to have these guidelines being published on their website, so that client in today's time, there have been a couple of surveys which are happening where the clients are also little in two minds whether to go in for the service or not. So this will give them a kind of confidence that the salon or the service provider we are patronizing is following the guidelines set up by a council. In addition, it will give them confidence to move forward, even to taking an appointment, when they'll know that the place that they will be visiting are following the basic norms that are the must in today's time. In addition to this, as again when we were chatting last, I shared with you that within this week, B&WSSC is also coming up with a questionnaire, which will be an online questionnaire based on these guidelines, and each and everyone from the industry, whether it's the salon owners, it's the operation managers, it's the service provider, it's a hands-on team, everyone will be encouraged and is invited to come online, appear for that online examination. And if they clear it, they will be provided a certificate from Beauty and Wellness Sector Skill Council stating that they've undergone the guidelines. That in fact is gonna be a second round of confidence building with their client, that the guidelines is one thing. Now we've been certified by the same council that we understand the guidelines and we'll follow them for the safety of our clients as well as for our own safety.
And then importantly, so obviously people can follow the guidelines, they can do the test, get a certificate, but how are you going to monitor compliance and safety standards? Are you going to do that as B&WSSC, or will there be an independent body that's working on compliance check at the end of the day?
As of right now, because we do not have any independent body as such who will be doing the compliance check. Here, the industry players and the industry owners and the salon owners, I would request them to come forward and play the role of a compliance officer for their own salon. And it's not only for them, it's for the betterment of the entire industry, because one case going haywire here and there will bring all of us down in one go. So while we take the responsibility of our own salon, in case I would further urge the industry, if there's a small time salon or a small time barber shop around you and you feel that the person needs some hand holding, this is the time to come forward, handhold that person and bring them to this level of understanding the guidelines. In fact, yesterday only during the I for India concert, there was a doctor who came in, and I really liked what he shared. He shared that India has 730 districts. So if our industry comes forward and take the responsibility district-wise of hand-holding the salons under that district, I think it'll be a bench we will create in our industry and which will be for other industries to learn and live up to. So if we can come forward and get out of this small time, this is mine and this is not mine, and handhold the complete industry, handhold our neighbors, handle the small time salon owners and get them updated with the technology, whatever is needed in terms of thermal screening, in terms of where to get this PPE material, in terms of helping them out. It'll go a long way, and it'll bring a lot of synergies to our industry as well.
Yeah, so obviously, like saying that it's got to be at the beginning, a lot of self-compliance, self-regulation as an industry. Are you then, is there going to be some kind of process or anything on the B&WSSC site where you can, in essence, whistleblow? So even if you know as a salon that someone's not complying, or customers know that a barber shop or a parlor or a salon is not complying, will you put any kind of mechanism in place so that people could raise concerns, so that could be looked into?
Yes, absolutely. We will have to do that. That's going to be the second step after the certification, because there's going to be a validity to the certification. And in case if somebody is not following the protocols being sanctioned, being allowed, there will be a stricter measure taken on them, rather than allowing them to spoil the entire industry's name. So that will be in the process. In fact, I've got one question from Usha Kilaji. She's asked, how do we maintain distance in facial? Usha ji, in current scenario, we will have to do that. And 2 meters is not a very big distance. If you look at it, it's like 2 arm lengths is 2 meters. So if you have individual facial cabins, nothing like it. But in case you have an open area which has got curtains in between and there's a facial beds being spread out, in that case, I will request you to measure the distance between the 2 beds as 2 meters and then put a curtain in between. That will help you maintain the social distancing norms for facials.
I've also got something similar, but for the makeup community, doing makeup services. So, someone's asked, would we then not do makeup services, in salon? Is that going to be an issue? Because that's also high touch and feel, and a lot of close contact with clients.
For that matter, no, we can do makeup. In fact, if you go through the guidelines, there's a separate guideline for makeup professionals and for use of makeup products. What they mentioned, right, absolutely is right, that there's a lot of physical contact, but same is the case even when you're doing hair services. When you're doing a hair services, you're in close contact. So the most important thing is that the service provider should wear masks. They should sterilize all their products and their brushes, very, very important. And if time permits, the brushes should be washed. Ideally, have human hair or animal hair brushes and not have synthetic brushes. Have them sterilized properly, have them aired and put them in sunlight. As we've seen by the guidelines being shared by the medical professionals, that exposure to sunlight, of any kind of sunlight and high degree of temperature, will destroy the virus to some extent. So sunlight is very, very important. Have this exposed. Secondly, when you're using the makeup products, use it with a disposable spatula. Do not use the same brush to take it from the palette and use it on the client. High touch kind of products like a lipstick should be then cleaned with isopropyl alcohol, or the top coat of the lipstick or the makeup product, whether it's your base or it's your, I would say, blush on or anything, should be wiped cleaned with a clean disposable tissue, so that the next layer of the product that you'll be using on the second client will be absolutely free, and sterilize them. Very, very important.
Very good. And I mean, what's almost ironic is that this is basic kind of training in this, in health and hygiene and stuff that hasn't Indian kind of, I think, fraternity hasn't lived up to the high standards to date. So I think one side it's a very good opportunity to really instill this basic hygiene, like you said, about using different brushes, etc. And will you be working with the academy section as well? Because the academies who train students and train therapists, artists, etc., they're the first port of ensuring good training and methodologies, and these good habits get inculcated. So are you going to be working with them to help drive these standards as well?
Absolutely, Vikas. In fact, the main aim for Sector Skill Council is to skill the youth and the women of the country into getting their livelihoods right. In fact, you'll be glad to know that all these guidelines have been added in the qualification packs for all the job roles. We've got 22 job roles with us, and they've been added in maintaining of the workplace for the hygiene and the safety and hygiene of the service provider. These qualifications have been added in that. We've taken approval from NSDC and we've already added. So today we are sitting on 4th of May, 6 months down the line, once the lockdown open, the new breed of students who will pass out from our institutes will know this. We'll not have to spend separate time and money and energy to train our employees, because the newer breed of the student who will be available in the market will know all the criteria and all these guidelines for safety and hygiene. There are a couple of questions coming in more. Aarti has asked me that in case of eyebrows, the salon person generally uses a thread, which is generally put in the mouth of the person. So how do we take care of it? And it's a very high risk thing. Aarti, absolutely right. Aarti, in our guidelines, we very clearly mentioned that during this time, one should avoid threading. But having said so, being a female myself, I know how important is the shape of your eyebrows. It, as of today, there's so much of emphasis given on your eyebrows and the eyes that it finally gives a structure to your face. So what we as B&WSSC is recommending is two things. One, instead of thread, ask your service provider or your therapist to use a peel-off wax. There's a peel-off wax which is available, which can be done for smaller areas like eyebrows. They will go up the eyebrow and at the bottom of the lower part of your eyebrow, and that wax, peel-off wax can be used. Secondly, in case if you still insist and if your service provider still insists on doing a threading, there's a way of using the thread by putting the thread in both your hands. It works like this. I do not have a thread right now, otherwise I would have shown you. So instead of using one end of the thread in your mouth and holding it, ask them to use it in both their hands, and then they can use it. So that will be answer to that. How do we maintain, okay, distance and eyebrow threading? Archana Mehta. Archana, eyebrows is one such service. Waxing is one such service where distance cannot be maintained because you need to be closer to the area that you are treating for a client. Here, the most important thing is make sure that the client is wearing a mask and so are you. Both of you are wearing a mask. The medical history of the client and if you show terms of cough, high fever, or even a little in your throat, do not get into it. So should call and ask for a paid leave for that day. Do not come to a work area or come for your work on that particular day. Refrain from coming. But these are some services where maintaining that social norm of 1 meter will not be possible. But yes, a healthy person doing the work on a healthy client will, and using mask and there are more questions. Can you share the vendor number for getting disposable towels and gowns? Preeti said. Preeti, okay, we can get that offline, but otherwise anyone who's into this industry, this is disposable is the woven sheets that are available. Whosoever is in this industry and is supplying disposable sheet will be able to make disposable gowns and towels. Also, the only difference is that the sheet GSM, that's grams per square meter, is little lower versus the GSM of a towel as well as of a gown. Because towel, the purpose of the towel is gonna be to absorb water. So just make sure that you take a GSM, a higher GSM for towels and for gowns also, for making sure that they are not transparent. So those things you should keep in mind. Please send more details for the online exams. Yes, please visit us on the website and you will get all the details of it within a week. Sorry, Vikas, you were saying something.
So, and then just again for reference to people listening, the website domain is?
Because I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'll just
take
ask
the questions in the meanwhile. Priya Bhandari has mentioned, you've said, yeah, You've said wear a mask, but how do you do skin treatments? Priya, yes, understandable. Wear a mask for your manicure, pedicure, for your nail services, for your hair services, and even for threading. But if you are doing a facial treatment, you can't be asking a client to wear a mask. But you as a therapist or the person who's doing the treatment on the client should prefer wearing gloves and then going and use hand massager for doing that facial massage and lymphatic massage. Yeah, because sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to remind the audience of the website, the B&WSSC website, so they know where to go again.
Yeah.
Check next
Yeah.
week.
Our website, perfect, Vikas, excellent. Our website address is www.bwssc.in. So guys, please do visit us on the website. The online questionnaire, as I mentioned, it will take about a week's time for it to be on there and for the certification process to be online, because we need to take all the approvals before we log it on. But the guidelines are very well available there currently in English. And as I mentioned, you will get more 10 languages over and above English. So overall 11 languages very soon within this week, so that it helps you understand and make your teams understand. You can download these. You can write to us. My email ID is ceo@bwssc.in. In case if you need any help on the guidelines, you want it in any other format, you want to further do it in an easier format for your people, we'll be more than happy to share it with you.
Yeah, and also I think one of the other things we're going to do at Professional Beauty, because we understand there's a lot of information flowing everywhere, that we're right now building, a dedicated page resource center online on our Professional Beauty website, where we're putting all the guidelines in place. We're going to put a list of all the vendors where you can source products from, so it becomes easier for people to find information, especially during this time. And obviously, Monica, we said that we're going to be hosting your guidelines on our page as well, so people can download that. Once your online certification's ready, we're happy to put links to that as well, so people can go there and also ensure that they're getting the right links. And we'll put the vendor details as well for those that are supplying PPE equipment, sanitizers, etc. At the moment for the community. So that's one thing we're building at right now on our website for the community.
That will be really nice, Vikas, because we being a semi-government entity, we cannot promote any vendors on our website, so it becomes difficult. We can only refer them, but that will be really nice if it's on your platform and you put everything there for people to visit and see, and vice versa, for the suppliers to be even showing their products. So that will be really nice. It will be a one platform.
Yeah. One of the couple of questions that I've had through Facebook side. One of them, was one of the brands asking about there's going to be issues between salons becoming stricter at the beginning, clients, not maybe or maybe not used to it. Do you think salons and the barbers and parlors, etc., should put some kind of indemnity document together which clients have to sign before they come into treatment? We're getting more into the legal side now, but it's really that relationship between client, and the salon now.
Because here I would like to say everyone is shaken up with the way pandemic has unfolded. And I must say, and I must compliment here, the efforts done by our government, our Prime Minister directly, and our government, and the administrative part, whether it's the police, the doctors, they've been the biggest heroes for COVID-19. But everyone, if you ask me, is shaken. We do not know what will happen when we step out of our homes. Having said so, if we are putting up an indemnity bond, it may further, I would say, scare the clients in coming over to the salon. I would recommend here a questionnaire rather than a bond, because the word in itself, indemnity bond, would may just scare them away towards another salon, or may scare them towards another source of taking the beauty services. But a questionnaire, as we've mentioned in our guidelines, can be a very basic set of questionnaire, asking them about their health, about the health of their family in the last couple of weeks, their travel history, if any, and obviously monitoring their temperature. These basic set of questions can be asked even on a telephone or on a website if you have an online platform where the client can take an appointment, or if it's a telephonic appointment, the person who's at the front desk handling the appointment should ask these basic questions. And the moment the clients step in, again, an advice would be to all the service provider and the salon owners here, that run them through the health and the safety guidelines being followed there. That in itself make a lot of impact. And one more thing I would like to mention here is that all the salons, to begin with, whenever we get a green signal to start operating in the red zone, because most of our metro cities or the tier 1 and the tier 2 are covered under red zones currently, as and when we get the signal from the government to open, we should do this drill of sharing the health and safety protocol every morning and evening with our teams. We need to inculcate in them, even if they know. It's like repeating the alphabets A to Z every day, the way a child go to a kindergarten, so that it becomes, even now in our sleeps, if you ask us, repeat the alphabets, we can do it, A, B, C, D, E, F, like you do not have to think about it. So I would like to just request the complete industry present here, and other than that also onboarded with us, that make it a point to do this as a drill, spend half an hour, open half an hour late for the public services, but do this drill for the safety of your own employee, for the safety of your infrastructure, and for the safety of the client. Very, very important. Just like a fire drill. We all do the fire drill only once in a year when the certificates have to be, you have to renew your certificates. We do that. So let's not make it a yearly annual affair. It should be morning, evening. And in a week, 10 days time, let me tell you, and you should then start rotating and giving the responsibility of doing that drill to one of your employees. So they become more accountable and they will take more interest, and they look forward to doing this part of being a leader, even if it is in this drill.
That's great. And I was talking to one of the chain salons yesterday separately, and they said all they're doing right now is this same training every day, non-stop, across all their salons and their franchises, just non-stop hygiene training. He said, we are going to keep doing it every day until people are sick of it. And then once they're sick of it, we know they've understood it. So I think that's a really important message, that it's not that you go and do the online certificate once and you think that's it, we're done. But every day for many, many days and weeks, I think it's going to be important that this becomes a real part of the culture and habit for the fraternity. And we were also discussing this with Mark Hayes yesterday, who's the international creative director of Vidal Sassoon. So when we were having that interview, he said a core part of their culture and habit, and he said when he joined in the late 70s or early 80s, that they had to do a lot of this basic hygiene training before they open the salon. So every morning for half an hour, like you're saying, Monica, that's the culture that even Vidal Sassoon had then, still have, to make sure that the most important thing for them was that their client was looked after, because they didn't want anything to go wrong with their client. So that hygiene side was so important for them that every day for half an hour, all the staff would focus on those kind of issues.
Because that reiterates that our standards are of international standards, must say here. Okay, having said that, there are a couple of questions coming. There's a question from Avleen Bansal saying, do you think airbrush technique for makeup is safer than doing a manual application? Yes, Avleen. But having said that, as we all know, even after doing an airbrush, a manual touch-up is needed unless you even that out, that spread of the product, whether you use the base or the foundation or the blush on, you will need to do it as per highlighting of the area. That will reduce the physical touch to some extent, but physical touch is still important and is needed in terms of makeup. Minakshi Ayer had asked, how about taking up facials which need more time and close connection with clients? Would be great if you can give any guidelines. Meenakshi, kindly go through our skin treatment guidelines. Everything has been given in there. Over and above that, if you still have any question left on that, please feel free to get in touch with us, because this question is for you. Gurprit Sibalji is asking, can you ask Vikas what research will he do before he goes back to a barber or a hairstylist? Questions he'll ask in today's environment. So that's to you now. I'm playing your role.
I think the most important thing, and I think no matter what whatever the environment struggle is. So whether it's this pandemic, whenever there's a loss of confidence, in a provider or in a situation, I think the most important thing is to focus on quality. And there's this phrase, flight to quality, which people look for in times of struggle and confusion. So I think I know, for example, my hair has been a disaster like the last month. So you saw Kaya, my daughter, come in earlier saying, "Is that how you're going to do your hair today?" And I have no. I just want to go and get a haircut. So, but what I do know is that when I go to a salon, I'm really got to be cautious that I'm going to a quality salon, right? So I'm lucky that I'm in Bandra and Mumbai, so we're surrounded by your JCBs, your Savios, and your B&WSSC, etc. So I know that I'm always going to go to a provider that I trust, without them actually even having to put the certificates up or any badge of honor, because I know that their culture, their habits are really strong, and hygiene and sanitization and good standards is really important for them. Will I experiment at this point in time and try and go to somewhere cheaper to save some money? Not at all. I'm really going to focus on going to somewhere I can trust to deliver a good product and a good service. And I think whether it's choosing a haircut or choosing any kind of provider, I think that's what customers should be, whether they do that, but that is what they should be looking for right now. This is not the time to experiment with any kind of service provider, because you just don't want to take that risk in the short term until we know that we've got the vaccine in place and the industry is working to high standards consistently. So good breed. So for me, I'm going to go to I'm lucky because I've got people like Vipul and Savio around the corner for me. So I will just end up, going to, one of these guys or JCBs, etc. straight away to, whoever will take me in as a fussy customer.
Excellent. And in today's time, I think we all have become fussy customers, and we should be, both as a fussy service provider as well as a fussy client, because that will help safeguard both the sides. There are some more questions coming in. People want me to repeat the website. Guys, our website address is www.B for Bombay, W for women, S for Singapore, again another S for Singapore, C for Canada. So it's B&WSSC.in. So that's our website address. Okay, there are some more questions. Can we do an online course? Yes, guys, just go through these guidelines, and online questionnaire will be out within a week. You can do this online, and certification will happen free of cost online. How can we use separate aprons for cutting? Okay, we have a cutting sheet for a client, and then we have an apron for the service provider. They are disposables which come in this. In case if you do not have disposable to start with, then whatever you're using each client, it should be after one usage on one client, it should be put in for a laundry, and it need to be washed in hot water and detergent solution and need to be sun dried. Do not use the same apron as a hairstylist when you've done one haircut for the other client. Similarly, it goes for your cutting sheets. In case, and especially for towels also, in case if some people do not have the availability of linen available with them, second best thing to do is absolutely fresh linen for each client, whether it's a sheet, whether it's a towel, whether it's a pillow cover, everything should be neat and washed properly. Washing instructions are very clear. It should be dipped in hot water solution mixed with detergent and some bleach, because most of our salons use very light colors, either white or beige. So use bleach in it to kill any bacteria. Bleach is a disinfectant. It kills bacteria, any virus. And after that, if you want to, and if you have availability of a washing machine in your salon, nothing like it, let it go in a washing machine, completely cleaned, and has to be sun dried. Even if you are having a dryer in your machine and it comes out dried, do not use that product or that part of the linen unless it's been put up in the sun for 3 to 4 hours. So this may involve investing a little more in another or in a couple of sets of linen needed for the salon, but it's worth the investment for your own safety and for the safety of your team and for the safety of your clients. So please do not compromise here.
Okay. I think we might want to, I think Gurpreet wanted to chat as well. So we might try and get Gurpreet to ask a question. In a bit.
She's written no audio. Am I not audible?
We are. Here we're audible, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You guys are audible.
Okay. I think because when you were speaking, it was blurring a bit, so it could be that she mentioned at that point of time. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Vishali's also mentioned that we both are audible. Thank you, Vishali. Okay. Any more questions do we have, or we've answered all?
I think we've answered most of the questions. There's another question coming in from Ruchi Soni.
Yeah. I find the whole salon culture, which was thriving earlier, getting to be half. The cost of operation is going to be severely escalated. If the rents and salaries are not revised, what is the viability of running a salon? Ruchi, there are two ways to look at the situation, as Vikas was also mentioning. And the moment the lockdown opens, as per my understanding of this industry that I have, there will be a rush for essential services. People would want to, before even they go back to their workplaces or join back offices, they would like at least the basic essentials to be done the way Vikas also mentioned. Having said that, yes, there will be for the clients, high ticket size clients, for getting services worth 10,000, worth high-end of facials, 15,000, 20,000, or getting bigger ticket size services. It will take some time for the industry to bring them back. Having said that, the essential services will carry on. But yes, as you rightly mentioned, how do we optimize the cost of operations? Here, the optimization will play a key role in this. As an industry body, as Council, we've been approaching different governments. Today also, we've had a webinar with Nitin Gadkari ji, the respected Minister for MSME. We've sent in our request through CII as well as through FICCI to Ministry of Finance, where we've requested that some kind of SOPs should be given to our industry. And when we come to the rental part of it, this is one of the biggest SOP that we've asked for, not only the rental, even reduction in the electricity bills in the next coming 6 months. We've even asked for that. We've gone to that extent as well. But having said so, Ruchi, I would advise that you should go back to your lease agreement with your landlords. Check up the force majeure clause in that. If the clause is pro lessee, that is pro the tenant, you can request you can get that clause being activated through your legal team, or you can discuss it with your landlord. If he allows, there can be a mutual discussion and a reduction in the rental for the next 6 months. And here, while I am on this point of rental reduction, I must share with you guys here, in malls, most of the retail stores are going in for the next 6 months, are going in for a top line share with the mall organizers and the mall admin teams rather than a fixed rental. So you can discuss on those lines with your landlord. If it agrees, fine. If it doesn't, then you will have to show him the way industry has been facing a hit, and so must he be. That he also must be understanding, and you need to sit down with him and make him understand that the entire business needs to generate monies, and only if you are able to generate money will you be able to pay his rent. Otherwise, you may have to look at moving out. And while I'm on this topic, I must share with you that there's an overall reduction anywhere between 20 to 30%, which will happen in the property prices, both in terms of the rentals as well as in the purchase price. So as of right now, when we talk, the moment we open up, you'll see a lot of small time shopkeepers, maybe from our industry or maybe not from our industry, the small time retail shops, they may have to shut shop. So there will be availability also in the market. And if your landlord has had a good relationship with you and you've been a good paymaster, paying him rent on time, I don't see any reason that why he would not listen to your need when it's required. Okay.
Yeah. I think just building on that, because I think the conversation is about rent and force majeure. I mean, from a legal point of view, I I think tenants basically won't have much to stand on from force majeure. It's actually not, it's not going to be enforceable. So, and we're not, you know, you're not going to want to get into litigation, etc., with your landlord. So there's probably not much can be done with force majeure. And actually, sorry, Monica, I know a bit about this because we do a lot of consulting work for lawyers, and we work with lawyers a lot. And we know that force majeure will not be applicable. We'll have to pay the rent, whatever you are, whether you're a salon, whether you're our business. It's, fortunately or unfortunately, it's going to be a process of negotiation. So it's really about you negotiating with your landlord and seeing how flexible they are. And then you have to do your math, you know, and your budgeting to decide whether you want to walk away from your contract if, you know, they're not going to be, you know, if the negotiations don't go well. And like Monica mentioned, we are going to see a situation post-lockdown where landlords are not going to be able to command the rates they were getting pre-lockdown. So they would be quite, it would be wise of them to be too hardball, because actually, if you end up, you know, breaking the contract, etc., or serving your notice, you'll be able to negotiate a better price elsewhere. So it really, but it really be a negotiation process.
And it'll all depend upon how your relationship with your landlord has been in the past. So if it's on a good term, he would also understand. And in fact, most of them, they are also business people. They understand that in case if you move out and his place is lying vacant for next 6 months, it'll be difficult for him to get another tenant. So it's more, as Vikas did mention, but because on the same lines, the point of force majeure is working very well with all these mall places where the leases have been done with the mall owners. It's been working, and most of them, at least in Delhi, I know Mumbai and Maharashtra, the leases are more pro the lessor towards the landlord versus the lessee. But in Delhi, DLF being one of the bigger names, has already given this kind of reduction in rentals to their tenants, which I'm aware of.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
more
negotiate. That's more the landlord being savvy, because you know they don't want to lose the PVRs and the reliance, etc. So it's more commercially minded decision making by the landlord. Like you were saying, you know, a smart landlord, you know, should not go too tough on the lessee if they have a good relationship, because it'd be hard to find new tenants afterwards. And I know we've got one customer talking about the salary. I think just talking through, obviously a lot of salons are going to go through that struggle of operational costs. But like you were saying, Nitin Gadkari was saying earlier on the call he had with industry leaders, that ensure the salon parlor community is registered with the MSME scheme, because that's where the government is going to look to provide SOPs and relief, you know, for the community. We won't see anything specific probably for our sector anytime soon, but you know, the MSME sector in general will see, you know, they're under quite a lot of kind of pressure to provide support to this smaller community. So we would recommend that you, as a salon owner, parlor owner, etc., do register. You can go online. It will take about 5 minutes to do so.
Yeah. In addition, I can also add is that you can discuss the way you have to discuss with your landlord. You can discuss with your employees and make it a variable pay also. A component of a variable pay can be added for them, and that will have a little less burden on the fixed and the fixed expenses. The variable, as the business will pick up, their variable pay will increase, and then we should be in a position to pay them higher when times are good. So that should be the only, I think. Yeah, and it's important to retain your good talent also at this point of time. Very, very important. Not to let them go off.
Yeah. And like you're right, it's really about building that partnership. So your partnership with your landlord and your partnership with your employees. So obviously, right now, everyone has to work together to support each other. So whether you could work on a kind of variable model, whether it's like salary reduction, you've just got to see how you work as a team to ensure your business survives the next few months.
Absolutely. See, these times will also pass on, and we'll soon be, but this is gonna become, as per the current trend, what it's showing, we should be ready to live with COVID pandemic at least till 2021. It's not gonna go off so soon. So we need to be a little more well prepared. Knowing it, like knowing is half preparedness. So get into it with full preparedness that how we're gonna face it. And once this becomes a norm, okay, we'll face it once we come on it.
Yeah. Good. And then what else are you working on? Obviously, so you put these good guidelines together. That's going to hopefully roll out now down the rest of the community for them to adhere to. And then what else? I think it's also a good opportunity to talk about other kind of schemes, you know, that the B&WSSC is doing, because it's very much, you know, a skilling, our skilling body. So what are the what's the other kind of work you're doing at the moment?
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on the other part of it. Our main aim, we've been formed by NSDC, promoted by NSDC, and we are under the aegis of MSDE, that's Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Our main focus and aim is to skill the youth and the women of the country, to give them right means for a livelihood, to get them skills so that they can earn. And we work a lot in women empowerment in the sector. Ours is a women-dominated sector. So we run different schemes under our government, which are like PMKVY, under which the students are trained free of cost by government. We are even now running courses, beauty hair, yoga courses in schools. We are there in your state board schools. We are there in CBSE schools. We will be starting with ICSE school the moment the session for 2021 starts. So our courses, B&WSSC courses, are being picked up by these schools, and they run, and these courses start from 9th standard onwards. During our time, there used to be a subject called SUPW, Socially Useful Productive Work, which was basically a time pass and a bunk class. But now schools, MHRD has taken it up to give vocational education to our students and give it to them at the right age. This is actually the vision of our Prime Minister, because India being the youngest nation, he wants that our youth should get the skills at the right age while they're still in the schooling part of it. This will help them even channelize their energies onto what do they want to become post they finish the schooling. Everyone will not be able to get into a medical entrance or a engineering entrance. And even if they do get into it, do we have those many jobs available in the market? No, we do not. We are moving toward a gig economy. That's Industry 4.0. So gig economy will be a small time entrepreneurs starting up their own businesses and taking the economy forward. The aim is that people who pass out from these schools, these colleges, these educational institutes should be able to start up something small of their own, and within 3 to 6 months time start giving employment to their peers. So they may start as a self-sustained kind of a small salon from the premises wherever it's available, and in say about 3 to 6 months time they are in a position to hire 3 to 4 of their teammates. So that's gig economy, to come develop small entrepreneurs and to increase the bandwidth of giving employment. The employment in the going time is not going to come from big industries. It's going to come from the MSME sector. That's going to be the talk of the town. In addition to that, we even run courses, degree courses with colleges. They are called BWOC courses, Bachelor's in Vocational Education. It's a 3-year degree course, which has a lateral entry and a lateral exit. You can enter it with a certificate level and exit it with a degree level, or you can enter just as an amateur and exit at a degree level, at a diploma level, or at a certificate level. After every 2 semesters, there's an exit policy available there. So we work there, and we work with state governments. There are a lot of state schemes that states come out in skilling and in women empowerment. We work directly with all those state governments to skill the youth of their state, and central government we work with through our ministry, that's Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, headed by Dr. Mahendranath Pandey. And we work with state governments also very, very closely. In addition to this, we've got industry on the other hand. We've got industry members who are empaneled with us as industry members. They guide us in making the policies. They guide us in doing the curriculum. All that curriculum which we are talking of, which is being sent for schools and for colleges and for RMSA, has been made with the help and guidance from our industry members. And a couple of them are already on call, like Gurpreet ji, Vishali. So they all are our industry members who've handheld the council in doing the exact curriculum, what would be needed. And ours being an industry which changes like the fashion shades of earlier we used to say Paris, now Paris is in a bad shape. So the way the fashion changes on the streets of Milan and Paris, it used to change. our industry also needs to update themselves with the newest knowledge. What kind of colors are gonna be used? Is it the smoky eyes which are gonna be in trend, or is it the heavy eyebrows? Is it bronzer which is gonna come in the next wedding season, or is it gonna be a matte makeup? So all these guidelines, we take guidance and learnings from our industry, and they help in doing the curriculum with us. So that in nutshell, guys, is the scope of B&WSSC. So these industry partners even are our employers. Now, when we are training, as I mentioned, we are training so many youth. Till date, we've trained almost about 6 lakh students in beauty and wellness courses. And under wellness, we've got yoga, we've got Ayurveda, we've got fitness, we've got beauty and wellness consultant, different job roles that we have. These industry members, and other than these, couple of hotels, chains, the cruise liners, they are the ones who hire these students who pass out. So it's an end-to-end work being done by Beauty and Wellness Sector Skill Council. On one side, we are training the workforce who will get employed with these big industry members. And on the other side, we are helping the industry members suffice their need of manpower. So it's both ends, we are making both the ends meet together. So that's in a nutshell, guys, what B&WSSC does. So that's where we are. Is working in residential area allowed? This is another question from Ruchi. Keeping a shop going is going to get tough. Okay. Working in a residential area, if you have the license, the basic license to operate, yes, you can. But if you do not have a basic license, then you will need to check up the law of abiding of that area where you exist, or of the RWA where you are stationed. Please suggest how should one think more fruitfully besides doing what we do and keeping all sanitation practices in mind. Okay, Ruchi, I assume you have quite a lot of questions. Ruchi, treat each member of your staff as if they were your family member. I would like to just put in that. And their health and their safety should be as important to you as any of your family members would be. Similarly, work similarly with your clients. That's the outside. I always take it that you have two kind of clients. One, it's an external client, a customer who comes and takes your services and pay for those services. And one is an internal client, that's your team members. So treat both of them the way you would treat your own family members in these difficult times. Make sure that their health and their safety is utmost important to you. Yes, business would run. Yes, we all will make profits when the going gets normalized, but do not compromise on very small, minuscule. Do not cut corners in providing healthy services and hygienic services to your client. And believe you me, you will get to see the fruit of this in the longer run. The clients will stay with you. As Vikas also mentioned, they would not like to move out of your place of service to another place. You will have loyalty, which will go a long way. So I think that's the only thing I can advise you. Treat them as if they were your own. And at this time, I know time is tough. I know there's been no business which has happened in almost 1.5 months. We all have taken care of all the resources, liquid resources that we had. We've paid the salaries, we've paid for whatever was the basic necessities to be taken care of. The business will get normal. And let's not forget that whatever we've earned today, we've earned from this business only. And if this is a time where we need to invest a little back in this business, let's not hesitate. Let's not, again, I would say, let's not be penny wise and pound foolish. Let your pennies go so your pounds will come in. That's a promise I make. Your clients will stay there with you as long as you will look after them and make sure and give them that confidence that their safety and hygiene and their health would be more important to you than your cash bells ringing at the front desk. And your clients will not go anywhere. Here, I think we are done. We are done with the time also. Vikas?
It is. Okay. I mean, 1 hour has gone very fast. So I think we've managed to cover quite a lot of information in the last 1 hour, and it's gone very, very fast. So I just really want to, again, thank you, Monica, for taking the time out to talk to us, and update the industry about the guidelines and the work you're doing to really support us all getting back to work quickly in a safe and sound manner.
Absolutely, Vikas. Just hoping, keeping my fingers crossed and thumbs up that we all will be back with a bang in the industry. And again, anyone has any kind of questions, any kind of knowledge needed, please visit us on our website www.bwssc.in. You can put in a query there, or you can write it directly to me. My email ID is ceo@bwssc.in. We'll be more than happy to take as many queries as will come. And guys, yes, the moment we have the online questionnaire and certification on, wait to hear from us. This will be announced on the website, but by the weekend, we'll have the entire thing stitched up at the background. My team is working, Deepak from my team is working day and night to get this done. We'll be more than happy to get you, welcome you to come on board, appear for the questionnaire and be certified. Thank you so much, and all the best to each one of you. Thank you, Vikas, for having me. Thank you, Ria, for all the back-end nitty-gritties that you've taken care of.
Pleasure. And make sure, as soon as you've got the information ready, send it to us so we can also circulate that to our database.
Absolutely, Vikas. You'll be informed.
Great. And I just want to, while we're finishing this, just to everyone who's still listening, the rest of the week, we've actually got a very power-packed week, which we're calling Legends Week. So we're going to be honoring some of the founding members of our community from Tuesday all the way through to Sunday. So we have Lata Mohan, Lata Kanchandani, Blossom Kocha, Nalini Negamwala, and we've also got Gurpreet Sibley as well, you know, live in interviews during this week. And on Sunday, we do our finale with Patrick Cameron, who's also we'll also be interviewing on Sunday. So the rest of the week, we're going to get to really talk to these legends who have been through tough times as well. You know, and I think they'll have a lot to share with the community about what it takes to get through tough times.